Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman at BBC Radio Derby. Welcome along to the show. Sally Pepper in for Alex Trelinsky on this Wednesday afternoon, fast approaching 2:15. Now, as I mentioned, special guest, he's just popped in to say hello. Philip Whiteland, a Burtonian, written a book on growing up in Burton-upon-Trent and various childhood ramblings as well, which I guess we can all relate to. It's called Steady Past Your Grannies. It's currently on sale in Ottakers in Burton, and if you're a fellow Burtonian, I would say it's a must-read. Now, Philip, like I said, joins us this afternoon to tell us more about being a published author and what the book is all about. Welcome to the show, first of all, Philip.
Very nice to meet you, Sally. Thanks.
Pleasure to have you here. Am I right in saying Burtonian, or what would you class yourself as?
Many people would class me as many things, but I'm a Burtonian. I'm a Burtonian, yeah. Born and bred.
Now then, I mentioned that obviously if you are fellow Burtonian, then this is a must-read. But that's not fair to say, really, is it? Because obviously it's kind of... I think a lot of the memories that you draw upon in this book will resonate with our listeners quite a lot, wouldn't you say?
Well, I hope so. I mean, obviously it is based in Burton-on-Trent because that's where I was born and brought up, so that's where my memories come from. But I think hopefully it will mean something to anybody who's my age or thereabouts. So anybody who grew up in the 1950s, 1960s, pretty well anywhere, I think, would recognise certain aspects of this and think, yes, that's true. Brings back to them memories from the childhood, not necessarily anything to do with Burton-on-Trent in particular, but about growing up in that era, because it was a different time. And I don't start from the point of view of saying, well, you know, things were a lot better in them days, weren't they? Because I don't necessarily believe that. Okay. I think they were just different. And what's good is good at any particular time, you know.
And childhood memories are always the best anyway, aren't they? Whatever generation you are.
Well, you certainly hope so, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, every summer holidays was glowing in sunshine, and Christmases were covered in snow, and it was all wonderful and so on. In actual fact, what you forget about is the times when it's chucking it down with rain and you're bored stiff, you know. But yeah, I mean, childhood is childhood, and I think some of the things hopefully will come back to people and they'll say, oh yes, of course, you know, that's exactly how it was, you know. And of course it'll mean that bit more to those readers who are from Burton-on-Trent and who know the particular area in which I was born and brought up, so that'll, you know, add a little bit more to it. But I think hopefully it'll mean something to anyone who's sort of getting on in my
getting on, is it? Come on, what a load of rubbish!
I know. No. It's more a case, I suppose, of that I'm one of that great vast tranche of baby boomers who came into being in the 1946 onwards, and who are all marching resolutely now towards winter fuel allowances and pensions if we're lucky. So it's that, and it's a time of your life when perhaps you do get the chance to just sit back and look at what happened in the past and look at it perhaps a little more objectively. The main purpose of the book, though, essentially is to amuse and entertain. It's not a history. It's not something dry and boring. My aim is to make people at the very least smile, hopefully laugh, and if they've achieved that, then it's all been worthwhile.
Steady past your grannies?
Yes.
Was that a saying that you used to use then?
My dad did, yes.
What exactly does it mean?
Well, it's a good question, really, isn't it? I mean, there are all sorts of phrases that used to come out. My mum used to have one about if she was referring to somebody that she didn't really know, but she wanted to intimate that she did. She said, "Oh, I used to know him. His mother used to chew bread for our ducks." So I know I have no idea.
What?
I have no idea. But drawing a veil over that, steady past your grannies is that sort of thing. It just means, you know, mind how you go, basically, I suppose.
Okay.
But the final story in the book does explain it in slightly more detail, and also explains why there's a toilet on the cover. Because that is, on the face of it, perhaps not the thing that one would naturally put on the cover of a book in order to attract readers.
I did wonder.
You know, people do.
Yes.
You know, this is it. Well, I'm hoping that one...
Well, it's actually a picture of you as if you're about to go in the toilet.
Yes, this is true. Yes, you've got the nub and the gist of it there, basically. Yes, that's right. The point about this is that this particular gents' toilet used to exist on New Street, Burton-on-Trent, across the road from the old Burton Hospital, which is now a housing estate, of course. And it was your last chance before you set off down Uxbridge Street. Now, Uxbridge Street is allegedly the longest street in Burton-on-Trent.
Right.
So, therefore, you had to make a decision at this point.
Do you risk it all the way down the street?
Precisely. Or do you risk this ironclad monstrosity, which looks a lot better nowadays because it now lives in Cawes Visitors Centre and it's been returned to its Edwardian splendour.
Yeah.
In those days, it didn't. You know,
No.
But anyway, sorry, we've become lavatorial now. Yes.
That's all right. You carry on. You carry on.
But that explains the toilet. That explains the toilet on the cover, anyway. So
a lot of people from or at still in Burton now will be raising a wry smile to that thought, and many other memories that are in this book, won't they?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I bet they remember the toilet, certainly.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, I would hope so. And also, as I say, anybody who grew up in that time. I mean, for example, one of the things that came back to me while I was writing this was this concept of the sort of nameless dreads that you develop in childhood. One of which, in my particular case, was that I got this idea in my mind. I don't know quite how, for a television program, I think, that I had to get down from the toilet. We've gone back to toilets again. Sorry about that. Had to get down.
Will you stop it?
Toilet in our house, which was at the very far end, at the end of the landing. Had to get down from there, back down into the living room,
right,
before the end of the toilet flushing. Which is, you don't know where these things come from, but you just got this idea that if you don't, something's going to get you.
That's a bit posh, isn't it? Having your toilet upstairs.
Well, inside it all, quite frankly.
Well, exactly, but certainly upstairs. What was going on?
We were posh. We had a bathroom, yes. But you went downhill after that. But
showing off.
I know. Own soap and everything. So, yeah, we had this, we had a bathroom. We were quite posh, I suppose. I developed this idea. And the worst of it was that I was a complete wimp when I was a child. And I hated going downstairs. To me, the stairs was like the north face of the ivy, you know. Yeah. So I tried to get downstairs on one's derriere, you know.
Yeah.
And doing that whilst also being absolutely convinced that if you didn't do it by the time the lavatory flush, you were going to meet something, some dreadful end. You know, a strange world, isn't it, really?
Well, it certainly is the way you paint it, you know, in a great way. I was going to say, because, I mean, obviously, you're self-published.
Yes.
So you had this idea, you obviously decided, right, I've always wanted to do that. I mean, are you from a creative background, or did you just think one day, you know, I've always fancied this. I've got a great memory for these incidents that happened in my childhood. I'm going to put it on paper.
I've got a shocking memory, actually, as my wife will testify, but I do seem to be able to dredge these things up.
I was going to say, it doesn't show.
What I did yesterday is anybody's guess.
Oh, well, that's a different story altogether, isn't it? Most of us are like that, I think.
Oh, good. It's not just me. I've always written, and I've always tried to write to amuse, but basically, I don't find a lot of fun in just writing for my own sake, just writing something and sticking it away in a drawer. I don't sort of find a lot of fun in. If I've got an audience, if I know that people are enjoying what I'm writing, then I'll write all the more. So over the course of my life, I've written in sort of spasms, I suppose. But in this particular occasion, I was very fortunate that the Burton Civic Society asked me to provide a piece for their newsletter, and I've been doing that for a few years now. And the pieces about Burton-on-Trent in this book are essentially those pieces, and they've appeared there in the first instance.
Right.
Also did a piece for Ottakers, did a book about Burton-on-Trent, where they invited all local authors to submit articles.
Right.
And the piece about the Anglesey Road wreck. Yeah, it came from that, and that's where that originally came from. So it's all of those, and then that's been augmented by various other pieces that I've written, observational pieces that wouldn't really fit in with the Burton Civic Society because it was not specifically to do with Burton-on-Trent, but nevertheless, you know, sort of fell into the same sort of general either remembering things or just sort of looking at the world with the perplexed eyes of somebody who's reached 51 and wonders how they've managed it. Sort of. And also a couple of works of fiction that sort of fitted in with the same general tone. So that's where it's all come from, really. And I think, I mean, the Anglesey Road wreck one, for example, which really sort of sparked it off, and full marks to Atticus for encouraging that. That sort of came from the initial shouldn't place a children's playing ground where it was then. I mean, in those days, in order to access it, you had to walk through a scrapyard. Handy, yes, very handy. The recreation ground itself is stuck between two main train lines and was heavy industry at the other end, the wagon works. And it was basically, it was a death trap when you think about it now, and you certainly wouldn't arrange it that way now.
No way.
You go back there now, and it's a wonderful place. In fact, I went back there not so long back. There's nice playing surfaces, soft surfaces. It's all beautifully landscaped. It's really pleasant. Then, I mean, it was awful, really, when you think about it, but it's where we all used to congregate. We all used to enjoy it. And the scrapyard is a wonderful place to get old lorry tires and build castles out of. So it was fun,
There's just no way kids would be allowed to roam around on the scrapyard now.
And that's all to the good. I'm not going to turn around and say, well, they should be out. They should get out there and get themselves cut and so on. No, of course.
But you didn't give it a second thought.
Nobody thought about it.
That's right.
And that's probably how it should be, really. But it was a fun place to be. It was a place to grow up and do the growing up that we did. In all the usual stuff about playing football and trying to keep as far away from the ball as possible so that you didn't make a fool of yourself and things of that nature, and piling up great mounds of cut grass to throw people into, and all this, just the usual sort of rubbish that you do when you're a kid.
Yeah, but I think sadly it's changed a lot now, childhood. Because you've got so much of the kind of technology, kids having TVs and computers in the bedrooms and all these kind of games consoles and all the rest of it. They don't seem to, I mean, obviously there's a safety aspect as well, but they don't seem to need to have the imagination to use just a bunch of grass cuttings or whatever, like you're saying. It seems to have changed a lot. Do you think that's a good thing or not?
I think it's just a thing. I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just different. And they'll be, I'm sure 30 years down the line they'll be coming into a studio and saying, I can remember when we used to get Xboxes, you don't go now, I mean, I was listening to the winner of the competition on the previous show. She was talking about getting a television in 1956. And that made me realise that I think to a certain extent I'm becoming my own grandmother, actually, because she used to have this technology we tend to view as a sort of form of magic, and the worse it gets, the more complex it gets, the more we said it before, we don't touch that. And she viewed the TV set in that respect. As far as she was concerned, when they said TV set, they meant it was set as a TV. That's the way it was, and touching it was right out. That changing channels was really to be avoided if you possibly could. Whereas, obviously in my youth I thought, there's nothing to it, and messed about with vertical holds and horizontal holds and things that you don't have anymore left, right and centre. But we just had a new TV put in at home, one of these all singing, all dancing digital jobs and so on. And my wife said to me before we went on holiday the other day, she said, should we unplug the television? I said, I'm not touching it. I daren't, there's a bloke put that in, and I daren't.
If you unplug it, you have to reset it again. Oh, no.
It's beyond me, so we'd have to probably get a 5-year-old child come in and they could sort it out for me. So you get like that, and computers have taken over that role as well, haven't they? The computer, you daren't touch the computer, because if it's just working, then it's fine. And if you just mess with it, you know that it's never going to be the same again. Well, TVs used to be like that, because TVs were all valves and goodness knows what else.
And it's funny that your wife said that philosophy of unplugging things when you go on holiday, that is what was instilled in you when you were children.
Yes, indeed, and it was all about thunderstorms, wasn't it? My mum used to even cover the mirrors with things at that day. She hated thunderstorms. But it's absolutely, so we used to have a TV set that it was so poor at the end of it, and this is right in the early days of TV, that we had to have 8 books stacked on top of it. I don't know why, but somehow the weight of 8 books made it work. If you didn't have the book, 7 was no good. You had to have 8 books stacked on top of it. So, but it was like a form of magic, as you say. You didn't know how it worked, and you could never understand it, but it did.
Don't question it.
Don't question it. Don't mess about with it. Certainly don't
switch it off. Brilliant. Well, obviously, lots of memories within this book of yours. We could talk about it for hours, I know. Steady Past Your Grannies by Philip Whiteland. If you would like to get hold of a copy, I know it's on sale currently at Ottakar's in Burton, isn't it?
It is.
And you're doing a book signing, I believe, on Saturday.
Yes. If you get down early enough, you could grab one of the rare unsigned ones. Yes, get down there for 11 o'clock on Saturday, and be delighted to meet anybody who's prepared to come along.
and we'll happily scroll all over a copy of this if you'd like. And yes, it's available through Ottakar's in Burton. Or if you can't get into Burton-on-Trent, then you can access my website, and you can certainly arrange to get a copy through that, and we'll send a copy out through the post to you. So
what's the website then?
I knew you were going to ask that. You know, it's people
you can't remember, can you?
It's people like you that cause wars.
You remember how many books you have?
I have it here. It's not dead easy, but it's PRW Writings. So PRW and then Writings, all one word.
Yeah.
Dot my site, MYSITE, all one word. Dot, you'll be getting bored with this before we get Wanadoo, WANADOO, -members.co.uk.
Goodness me, that is a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes, I'll have to invest in a minute.
Pen and paper at the ready again. The address is PRW Writings, that's all one word, PRW Writings, dot my site, all one word, dot wanadoo-members.co.uk. Or, of course, the easier way is just to pop along on Saturday to Ottakar's in Burton-upon-Trent.
Nothing to it, and very low technology, that one, yeah.
Yes, we prefer that way.
We do.
Philip, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you,
and best of luck with the book.
Thanks a lot.